Hey everyone, I wanted to go today through why in a monopoly, average revenue is falling as well as marginal revenue. So let's take a look. So a monopoly is the only provider in a market. That means every single person's demand curve is going to go to them. So a monopoly has the entire market, so they have all of the market demand curve going to them. That means they're going to face the law of demand, so they're going to have a downward sloping demand curve. What we're going to see is average revenue, marginal revenue comes from this. We are going to work out average revenue, marginal revenue from this demand curve. So to help you see how these link, what I do is put this in a table, and I like to put easy numbers. I'm going to put the easiest numbers ever. So 4, 2, 3, 1. Hopefully this looks fairly reasonable. And I'm going to transfer all of these coordinates on this demand curve. I know there's more than this. The demand curve is much more than these 4 points. But I'm going to transfer these 4 points into a table. So here, price is 4, quantity is 0. Next point, price is 3, quantity is 1. Price is 2, quantity is 2. Price is 1, quantity is 3. Price is 0, quantity is 4. And from this, we can work out average revenue and marginal revenue. But first of all, I'm going to need to define what these are. So AR is average revenue, and this is worked out by doing total revenue divided by quantity. MR is marginal revenue, and you can calculate this by working out the change in total revenue as an extra unit is sold. So before I can show you what happens to average revenue and marginal revenue, I need to have the total revenue curve. Both of these have that in common. So I'm going to add another column here, and let's work it out. Total revenue is price times quantity. So for the first row, do it row by row. Price times quantity, 4 times 0 gives you a revenue of 0. The next one, revenue is 4, 3, and 0. And if I were to draw that so you can see what the total revenue curve kind of looks like, I'm going to keep it all in green so you know that's relates to revenue. It goes all the way up to 4. So at quantity 1, revenue was 3. Quantity 2, okay, this doesn't look so symmetrical, but whoops. And then it goes down to 4. That's the total revenue curve. It looks kind of like a mountain. For some of you mathematicians, kind of quadratic. That's your total revenue curve. It's mountain shaped. It's symmetrical also. And that means it kind of has the same shape on the left as on the right. Great, so we're getting very close. We can work out average revenue now. In economics, we do this line by line. So I'm going to do this in pink. I'm going to work out average revenue in pink. So what we want to do is total revenue, which is 0, divided by the quantity in that row, which is 0. If you do that in your calculator, you'll get an error. So personally, I'm going to skip this row, but the next one, we can do the same thing. 3 is the revenue. The quantity is 1. So I do 3 divided by 1 gives you an average revenue of 3. 4 divided by 2 gives you an average revenue of 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 4 divided by 0, whoops. I swap things around sometimes, sorry, is 0. That's the average revenue curve. Let me plot this. Let me plot this on the same graph that we have here. So what am I going to do? The first row, average revenue is 3 at quantity 1. So let's draw this. At quantity 1, average revenue is 3. That's there. Next row, average revenue is 2 at quantity 2. So here I'm also plotting average revenue. Next row, average revenue is 1 at quantity 3. Average revenue is 0 at quantity 4. If I were to draw a line through these, I get that really cool thing that your average revenue is in the same location as your demand curve. It will keep going that until, you don't really draw your demand curves going to the axis like I've done. Your demand curve equals your average revenue. And let's think about why that is. Let's take a step back and let's work out what's going on. So here's the equation for average revenue. It all comes from this. So total revenue, what we did is price times quantity. And then we had to divide the total revenue, the price times quantity divided by quantity. When we do that, we can see here very clearly that the quantity cancels out and you're left with only the price. I'm going to draw a comment here explaining what's happening. So average revenue equals price. So plotting average revenue on a quantity axis is the same as plotting price on a quantity axis. A demand curve is the relationship between price and quantity demanded. So therefore, they're the same thing. You're plotting the same thing. Average revenue is price, so price is going to equal your average revenue, which is going to be in the same relationship with quantity as your demand curve. So therefore, the AR curve equals your demand curve. And since the demand curve is downward sloping, AR must be downward sloping. And that's it. Question done. Moving on to marginal revenue. Let's do this one in orange. Great. So marginal revenue, MR. There's a couple of ways you can calculate this. For now, I'm going to go unit by unit. So as the production goes from 0 to 1, units have increased from 0 to 1. What is the change in the revenue? So here the revenue changes by 3. So I'm going to plot it in between quantity 0 and 1, and that's kind of tricky to see on this kind of table. MR is 3, positive 3. Next one, going from 1 to 2, revenue changes by 1, so that's the MR. Next one, 2 to 3, revenue changes from 4 to 3, it goes down by 1, so the MR is minus 1. Next one, quantity 3 to 4, revenue falls. From 3 to 4, it goes down by 3, so your MR is 3. And yes, it can go negative. That's super interesting. I realize I don't have a negative axis on my graph. So if you give me one moment, let me just create that. And we can plot it. Space, space, space. Right, this is going to go all the way down to minus 3. So I'm going to plot MR on a quantity axis. So orange, between quantity 0 and 1. So between quantity 0 and 1, I'm going to go here. Between quantity 0 and 1, my MR is 3. So where is 3? Between quantity 0 and 1, there. Next bit, between quantity 1 and 2, MR is 1. Between quantity 2 and 3, MR is minus 1. And between quantity 3 and 4, it's minus 3. I really hope this is a straight line. It might not be because I'm drawing on Zoom. Okay, not too bad. Looks pretty good. This is the MR curve. So you get that classic monopoly MR that's kind of twice as steep as your demand curve. So some cool things here to be aware of. So if your demand curve cuts at 4, your MR would always cut halfway. So it cuts at 2 here. That's something really interesting that to really remember. So let's work out what's going on. Why does this MR curve look like this? So remember, MR shows the change in revenue. And if you look at all the quantities between 0 and 2, the revenue increases. So let's write that down. For the first half of the demand curve, revenue increases. And I haven't explained that on this video why it increases. We just know it did increase. We worked out the price and the quantity. If you're actually curious, that's because it's elastic. And we are decreasing the price. So you'll get the increase in revenue. The percentage decrease in price is less than the percentage increase in quantity. I haven't explained that. I'm really sorry. I'll do another video on that one. So you have this bit elastic causing revenue to increase. Since marginal revenue is your change in revenue, this is going to mean that your change in revenue is going to be a positive number. Revenue is increasing. So what we can say is for this first half of the demand curve, your MR is going to be a positive number. And that's what I'm just going to highlight for now. I'm going to highlight that being a positive number. I need more space. Don't have much space. I'm going to have to delete some things. I hope you've got these written down. If not, pause the video, write things down. Cool. Right, second half of the demand curve. So when I'm talking about this one, I mean, okay, I'm running out of colors. Yellow. Yes. I'm meaning this bit. For the second half of the demand curve, for those that are interested, this bit is inelastic. That means when you decrease the price by a given percentage, you will get a smaller percentage increase in quantity. That's going to lead to the total revenue decreasing, which is what we see here. I haven't really explained to you why, but we see it decreasing from 4 to 3 to 0. 4 to 3 to 0. Because total revenue is decreasing, if we were to calculate marginal revenue as the change in revenue, your change in revenue is negative. Why? Because total revenue is falling in this region. So that's going to mean your MR is negative. In other words, MR must have a downward slope because it's gone from a positive number to a negative number. It's gone from a, what color was this? Blue. It's gone from a positive number going to a negative number. That's enough to prove that MR is downward sloping. So therefore, we've got the conclusions. AR is downward sloping, in fact, matching the demand curve. We've got this other conclusion that MR is downward sloping. And the reason is as revenue first increases, then decreases with the monopoly demand curve. That's it, done. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.